Good morning and welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. I'm glad to be here. My name is Gene Corbin. I always get a nice boost for my week when I come to this place. And so the folks here said, hey, go ahead and sing a song. Get us started here. I said, okay. You've got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You got to spread joy up to the... There's a baby here that's making me laugh. You've got to spread joy up to the maximum and bring gloom down to the minimum, and have faith or pandemonium is liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah and the whale, Noah and the ark, what did they do just when everything looks so dark? They say you got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah and the whale, Noah in the ark, what did they do just when everything looked so dark? They said you got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gene, for that joyous beginning to what we're doing this morning. And good morning, all you beautiful people. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. We teach the science of mind so that we can all live better lives and contribute to a world that works for everyone. I am practitioner Greg Gardner. We would not be able to bring this Sunday service to you without the loving service of many dedicated people who serve. Our tech team, thank you, Annette, and all of your crew, our greeters, ushers, as well as the bookstore team. In addition, we have practitioner Carmela Herrera on High Watch. Thank you, Carmela. And our snack angels, our bookstore, and most especially our speaker this morning, Reverend Tammi Lambert. Blessings to you all, and thank you. Special blessings on the talk this morning entitled, Say Yes to Yes. Please join me in reading our vision and mission statements. Slide, please. Vision, transforming our world with the power of love in action. Mission, loving all creation through spiritual growth and service, always staying true to our highest self. And so now for an invocation. I invite you to just settle into the moment. Feel the comfort and support of the chair beneath you, the floor supporting, and bring into consciousness that common purpose we have this morning. That purpose of coming together and sharing this time together in loving consciousness with kindred spirits, with the spirit within each of us, coming that we might know ourselves in a deeper and broader way, that we might know spirit in that deeper and broader way. So knowing that all is well, I bless each of us this morning in our time together and invite you to join me as I say, and so it is. Amen. For our sacred reading this morning, I found some prayers of peace from each of the world's 5 major religions: Hindu, Buddhism, Jewish, Islam, and Christianity. So in no particular order, these prayers for peace. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. And another, come, let's go to the mountain of the Lord, that we may walk the paths of the Most High, and we shall beat our swords into plowshares and our spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And the third, O Creator, lead us from the unreal to the real. O Oneness, lead us from darkness to light. O God, lead us from death to immortality. Here's one you may recognize. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness and joy. And lastly, praise be to the Lord of the universe, who has created us and made us into tribes and nations, that we may know each other, not that we may despise each other. If the enemy incline toward peace, do thou also incline toward peace, and trust in God. And now for some special music. Take it away, Gene.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the prayers. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
How sweet it is. Thank you so much, Gene. And now for our talk this morning, we have Reverend Tammi Lambert, our very own Reverend Tammi. So let's give a warm welcome to Tammi this morning.
Good morning, Greg, and hello, everyone at Rio Grande. Sorry I can't be with you in person today, but I'm so glad to be with you in spirit and be with you virtually. So today we're talking, our talk title is Say Yes to the Yes. And I was telling Annette that I was having trouble saying say yes to the yes because I keep wanting to say yes to the dress. And on some level, we are talking about what we are dressed in, because we're talking about the dress of our spirit and what we are clothed with energetically and spiritually and emotionally. But then the blurb is that we are reminded that real creativity is an act of an expression. It's a creative expression, not a product or a performance. And so we are reminded that life is our palette and our dreams and desires are the medium. And we are in the laboratory of the divine. And so we ponder what is it that we are going to create. In this idea, in this conversation about creativity, I'm reminded of when I was a young woman in college and I was an art major. And I remember I used to lose myself in oil painting. And in retrospect, that was a huge time in my life. There was a lot of change and development in my life. And I remember saying in retrospect, years later, that being an art major was harder than law school, because in law school, they kind of gave you a book and told you what you were supposed to think and how you were think. But when you got in art school, you got a blank canvas. And what happened then was you had to create from nothing. And when I was doing a lot of art, it was a time when I wasn't really sure who I was and what I had to say or how to say it. And people in my life were saying, well, why would you be an artist? And they would say, you can do that in your spare time. And up until that time, though, in my life, it was very important that I was engaged in creativity, because my life had been defined by others. Even my spirituality was on some level defined by dogma and religion and what other people said it was. And I was in a space of searching for my own expression. And so facing that blank canvas forced me to express something original, and something original that came through me. And it was a powerful time for me. It was a moment of evolution and shaping. And when I think about our experience overall in life, we realize that we are facing the blank canvases of our lives, and we are looking and creating ourselves in a way that we have autonomy to do. You know, I don't spend a lot of time doing oil painting right now, but I found that I'm creative in other ways, and that I've used my life as a medium in other ways of being creative. And I've learned to trust my voice. And for many of us, it's important to realize that, and to realize that we are creative, that we are being creative, that we listen to our inner voice, and we have the ability to distinguish our inner voice from the noise around us, or the noise and the confines of things that are imposed on us. So we can listen to the purity of our own consciousness, and we will have the ability to create a freedom that is evolved and elevated. So in saying yes to life, we remember that we are all artists in this thing called life. We are participating in conscious evolution in this laboratory of the divine. We are familiar with the idea that all life is seeking to express itself as us, and we are shaping life in a unique way that can only flow through us. When we take our lives on and as an expression of ourselves, we see that we are evolving. In the past, we may have evolved. You think about the life of humanity, and there's an idea that there was an unconscious evolution that had us arrive at the place where we are, or that there was some evolutionary force that had us get to the point where we are living in these bodies, these spirits living in these bodies with the ability to create ourselves and evolve. But when we consciously create our lives, we are taking on a greater evolution for ourselves, and we are taking on individual evolution. Thomas Troward, one of the fathers of the New Thought movement, describes this as intelligent individual evolution. So we're looking at a higher stage of consciousness, a higher stage of evolution. And so we now become interested participants in our own evolution from this time forward. So it's not being determined by something outside of us. We're actually consciously directing our spiritual evolving. Science of Mind teaches that the only way God can evolve an individual that's spontaneous is free, is to let it alone and allow it to awaken itself. So we have all the tools for the evolution, but it's on us to awaken ourselves. So in this evolutionary process, while we are free to make mistakes, we are always taking on being a conscious yes to the divine in us. And we allow it to awaken itself in us. And we participate in the creation and the evolution of ourselves and we take responsibility and authority over that. The key is surrender. The key to creation is surrendering. We create the art of our lives by surrendering all in us that is not a reflection of the beauty that we intend. I remember once when I had a client when I used to have a private practice, and he was seeking a lawyer, and he didn't have a lot of money. And he was experiencing a lot of grief and trauma and anger and upset. And so he came in and asked if he could trade in a painting in exchange for the legal fees. And when I looked at the painting was a picture of a massacre. And he had actually used his own blood as part of the paint. And he pointed out that, where in the painting he had used his own blood to paint this rather grisly picture. The question was that art? And I would say, yes, it was. It was an expression of what he was going through at the time. And I got the image of his suffering. The canvas was a representation of how he was experiencing life at that time. And I could appreciate that and commiserate and have compassion with him. But no, I did not want to hang that picture on my wall. I could appreciate his pain and suffering and his expression without being willing to hang that canvas on my wall. And so often when we have grief or pain, we are called to be compassionate with ourselves and be compassionate with others. Many of us have had or are having horrible pain or painful experience or hurtful experiences in our past. And this is not the time to squelch it down, to deny someone or ourselves our expression, or say that someone's karma caused it or their thoughts must have caused the hard times. This is the time when we react for ourselves and others with compassion and love and understanding. We respond and react to all of it with compassion and love, being nothing but love, coming out from us and through us and around us. We just surround it with love and light. But having done that, even though we have that experience, as I said before, we don't hang the picture on our wall. What we choose to hang on the wall of our life is our choice. So the picture may have existed, and it may exist in time and space and in the circumstances, but the question is, what is my focus? What am I hanging on my wall? Because even through the storm, even through crises, even through good and bad times, we still have the choice to hang a picture of beauty on the wall of our lives. Because ultimately, in any circumstance, we remember that we are inextricably connected and one with divine spirit, that we retain our consciousness, the consciousness of divine power. And we can have hope and faith that that greater power that lives in and through us cannot be denied, and that it cannot be weakened, that only by bringing our attention back to the core of who we are, only then do we remember that we are not defined by circumstances and that the light in us is always greater than any appearance of darkness. So while we remember that we can't control everything about us, everything that has happened to us or has happened or is happening, we always know that we can control ourselves, our stories we make up about it, and how we're going to be in that situation. So in our lives, we can examine whether we are hanging paintings of massacres on the walls of our consciousness and of the past pain. Are we living that painful past? And when we choose not to, then we look at how do we channel spirit into circumstances that are less than ideal and the things that are happening around us. How do we create works of beauty in our lives and in the world all around us when we are living in an experience that seems to be not that? We are reminded that the true artist in us is a conductor. A flow and channel of spirit flows through us. And in all we take on, we remember that spirit lives in us and through us and as us, that it is the Father within us that doeth the work. So as we see the canvas objectively, we can bring light to the areas of pain and fear and the stories of times when we were victimized and remember who we really are. We can look at it objectively and give space between us and what is going on. We give space between us and our emotions. We give space and between us and our stories. And we remember to focus on the divine light. And we do this in our meditation and in our prayer, in our counseling, and we ask for mentorship. And we continue to find ways to channel the light. And we remember that as we channel the light, the darkness, the lower vibrations of that thought, the thought forms begin to fall off. And so we have an opportunity to heal when we had given ourselves an opportunity to surrender. Grandmaster Cha Kok Sui, the founder of Pranic Healing, in his book Creative Transformation, writes, "What are we surrendering?" He says, "We are surrendering pride, arrogance, old ideas, old devices, anger and irritation, pain, and obstructing attitudes." One of the founders of A Star, Arlene Cheney, says, "Sometimes things can get in the way of a healing flow. We may have a struggle with faith and belief. We may have a fear within us. We may have a feeling of guilt through which our subconscious may be convinced that we don't deserve a healing or the wholeness." So when we are seeking to create in our lives, the first thing we do is we take on a stillness. We take on our meditation and our prayer. Thomas Troward taught us that we train ourselves to make the mind like the waters of a still lake, remembering that with fear, the image is blurred as with a stone is thrown into the lake. Can you imagine if you're looking into a clear pool of a lake and you can see your true reflection and it reflects back at you, the sun and the light reflecting off the waters, and you can see a true image of who you are. But when we have fear, it's like throwing a stone into the image of that reflection, and our image, our true experience of ourselves becomes blurred, and we don't have a true understanding of the light that is living as us. Ernest Holmes in Help for Today says that doing this is like having living in fear is like having a tourniquet. He says we can tie a cord tightly around our arm and so inhibit the circulation of blood that congestion, stagnation, and infection will follow. In like manner, through our thought processes, through our thinking processes, our ideas and our convictions, we use the tourniquets of negative thoughts and block the flow of the creative life through us. So when we are in the space of stagnation and congestion, and when we have negative thoughts, it breaks the flow of this creative life flowing through us. So for example, if we were to take on the idea or the intention that, say, I'm going to practice patience, and then I see myself losing my temper, I might say, oh, I haven't spiritually developed. But if we objectively look at the canvas of our lives, we might see that over the years we have grown, we have developed, we have been of service, we have given love, we have transformed other areas of our lives. And so we can acknowledge the trip up, we can acknowledge the lapse with humility, and then continue to keep growing in this area of life, in this area of patience. We develop resilience, knowing that whatever we need to clean up, we forgive ourselves and move on, continuing to learn and grow in love and moving on in life. Remembering when we look at our canvas, we may look at it, we may look at it as if it's not ideal. I remember when I was in art school, one way that our art teachers told us to do is we painted a canvas, not to look at it real close, not to look at it up front, but to step back 5, 10, 15, 20 feet from it and objectively look at it, because you have a better image of it when you look at it from far away. The idea of not being able to see the forest for the trees. And when we're looking at the canvas of our lives, sometimes it's useful to take some time and some space and to go back and look at it objectively, and looking at it and with the realization that the canvas of our lives, what we are creating, is a work in progress. We are all works in progress. We're just moving toward a higher evolution, and we're learning the lessons as we go. Thomas Troward taught that the evolution of the individual wholly depends on the universal mind working on the plane of the individual. The supreme all-originating spirit is essentially creative in the eternal now. The life spirit seeks expression of its perfect and everlasting livingness. Beauty is eternally in the divine mind, and we are here to give it expression. So when we remember that beauty is in the divine mind and we are here to give it expression, we realize that our lives, the canvas of our lives, what we are creating is this divine, beautiful expression of goodness, of beauty, of love, power, peace, light, that it is only good. So even though we walk through valleys and shadows in our life, what the everlasting truth is the eternal now in which I am connected and one with divine presence. So I know that in any circumstance, in any situation, I tap into the eternal now, and I'm immediately in the consciousness of spirit. Transformation is available at every moment. I can change my thought in a moment. I can change my way of being in a moment. I can change where I am in my mind in a moment. Transformation is available at every moment. And there is beauty available in the bliss and in the divine presence in this moment. And so we are the expressions of that beauty. This is not happy thoughting away our troubles. This is not bringing a happy thought to troubles. It is reminding ourselves that in the face of whatever, that we are always connected, that we cannot be separated from the divine supreme love and power, that there is nothing that can overcome there's nothing that can overcome the love and the light. And so when I remind myself in any circumstance of who I am, I'm not giving a happy thought to whisk away the trouble. I'm acknowledging the power of divine presence and the power of this light in relationship to something that's a lower vibration that appears as darkness. Often in New Thought, we advise each other and ourselves to look at our lives and realize that this is an example of our thoughts. And sometimes when we look at that, when we evaluate it, it's easy for us to jump into a judgment about ourselves and others. But this is an idea about taking on detachment, about about an objective observation of the canvas of our lives. We look at the palette, we look at the tools, we look at the composition, and we take note of what is present here, what is not present here, what is missing, and look how I've grown, and look at areas in which I can continue to grow. So we take on being objective about it, and we realize that there are areas where we've had phenomenal growth and that there are areas where we are still developing. So we're on a spiritual path, and we can be kind and compassionate with ourselves about it. We've realized that we are in a process, that spiritual development is a development. It's a process and not a destination. There's no there when we have arrived, because spirit is infinite and ever evolving, and we are infinite and ever evolving and growing. So the idea of our spiritual journey is to constantly remember that we are on a path and that we are on a path of light. The thing that is most important is that as we surrender, we are increasing our conductivity of spirit. Troward says there should be no fearful, anxious thought about the conditions to be replaced with the desirable. You must work, but take no anxious thought. So we must not fly in the face of the law by expecting it to do for us what it can only do through us. We must therefore use our intelligence with the knowledge that it is action as the instrument of a greater intelligence. Anxiety and toilsome labor will be replaced by states that are a permanent source of all good. So when we take on the transformation of areas of our lives, we're not having a fearful, anxious thought about how we're going to replace the negativity with something positive that we desire. We go to work on realizing that we are increasing our conductivity, but we're not anxious about the how. We don't fly in the face of law, expecting it to do it for us. We take on being a conducive, energetic flow of the life force through us. And we know that the anxiety and the toilsome labor is replaced by a state of being that is a permanent source of all good, that permanent source of all good that is expressing as us. So, in connecting with our source in the face of any circumstance, we have the ability to consciously create. And then connecting with our source increases our spiritual conductivity. So, we are connecting the light bulb to the socket. We are reminded that instead of having an idea of separation, we are connected to source. It's just as if you have a light bulb in your hand and then you connect it into the light socket. We are connected to source. And as we connect ourselves with the truth, the light in us brightens. So conductivity can be increased by spiritually by the process of invocation and salutation. In beginning our spiritual mind treatments, we begin with exactly that, our unification and our recognition. That's the beginning of the invocation, is connecting with the divine presence. Grandmaster Chakuk Sui has an invocation, a grand invocation that I love, and I'm going to share that with you now. It says, from the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, may love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Lord Krishna return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out. May it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the plan on earth. So we take on being the yes to the divine plan on earth. And when we do that, we are the flow of spirit. Troward taught that when we are open to spirit, when we are open to the spirit, vivifying ideas, thoughts, and feelings will flow in, and we surround ourselves with the bubble of white light. And having done this, we can then soundly affirm the yes. We can say the affirmation with our word, declaring with the space of spirit that all we know as truth of light and love, the truth of the power and the light dimming all darkness and having it completely obliterated, we remember that our word is power. In the Christian Bible, Job 22:28 says, thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. So we are decreeing the power of light, and it is established in us. Troward says, how can I know that I am not speaking my own word instead of the creative spirit? And the way that we know is that the word of spirit is always a conversation about becoming. The word of a smaller person or a personality is always based on the idea of possessing. If we base our speaking of the word on the promise of spirit, we can be sure that we're on the right track. So the affirmation is an expression of who we are becoming as spirit, not a possession of the thing. In this thing called life, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, says that the highest consciousness is not one of possession, but of being. The greater your consciousness of being, the more automatically will the law flow from this consciousness into the acquisition of the things you desire. So to me, it sounds like the difference between affirming I have a house and a car and a job, to an affirmation that I am one with the flow of spirit, that I have a home in the highest and best ways, and I give and receive generously, and I am an instrument of the divine presence, and I am a flow of all source, and all that is good, that is filled with light and love, is flowing through me, and I am in this moment in my perfect place, and only good comes to me, and only good comes from me. So we move past the realm of wishful thinking, past the realm of just holding a thought, and we go into the realm of where the enlightened soul decrees. We endow the formula of words with creative powers and release the word in a powerful thought form. Erlene Cheney says that affirming embraces careful analysis, discriminatory choice of words, and powerful visualization. We create an energetic thought form in our body, in our etheric body, in our astral body, in the mind of our thoughts, in all the energies around us. And we train our subconscious with this power energetic thought to align with the subconscious of the universe, with the law, the subjective law of the universe that only says yes. And as we align our subconscious with the subconscious of the universe, we find that we are even one, and that in that oneness, we are able to manifest and bring into being this higher consciousness, bring into being this beautiful canvas of our lives. So as we surrender limitation, as we create ourselves and recreate ourselves and refine ourselves in the image of divine principle, as we affirm the light, we transform our minds. We transform ourselves with the renewing of our minds. And that as we create with this paintbrush of light and love, we are revealing the beauty of the divine presence. We see the beauty of the divine all around us, in the song of the bird, in the beautiful sunrise, in the love of the eyes of a beautiful child, in the beauty of the rain. And we remember that same effulgence and gorgeousness and beauty is here to express itself as us, as our lives, and on the canvas of our evolved selves. And so in response to this universal yes to beauty, we give thanks, we give thanks, we give thanks. Namaste. It is now our prayer time, and I'm going to offer a prayer and just ask the practitioners to surround the room. And for our practitioners that are on high watch at home, we ask also that you sit in this space of consciousness. And in this moment, in this place, in this eternal moment of divine eternal now, I bring my attention to the great architect of the universe, to Mother, Father, God, to all the spiritual beings, the holy masters, to all that love us in this realm and in other realms, all that are here for our spiritual highest good. We bring our attention to this light and love in all realms and in every direction. And knowing that in the center of all of that, that I am one with God and one with all. And in this space, I know that in that oneness, I am one with everyone here, everyone in the presence of this moment, in the presence of this divine consciousness, in this divine vibration. And in this space, I declare a resounding voice of a yes of openness to the flow of spirit, a yes to a divine conscious beauty expressing as life, that even now, anything unlike the highest form of beauty is falling away, that negative thought forms, limitations, things that have appeared as darkness, things that appear as fear, things that appear as pride and limitations, that all of that melts away as darkness before the light, and that I am even now the mold of the beauty and the power and the joy of life, and that it is even now manifesting as beauty beyond recognition, beyond any that we have ever seen. And I know that this is true for me. I know that this is true for everyone here, that we are even now in a divine healing presence, that we are even now expanding our divine consciousness, that we are even now the embodiment of Christ consciousness manifesting in our lives in every area of our lives. And I declare and know the divine blessing of it. And in this space, in this moment, in this beauty, and this divine yes, I have so much gratitude, knowing that I am releasing this word into the law that only says that beautiful yes. And so I release this with so much thanksgiving, knowing that it is, it is, it is. And I say, and so it is. Ashe, amen, amen. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Reverend Tammi, for that beautiful prayer and your joyous message of say yes to yes for us this morning. And now's the time to share our abundance. There are multiple ways to give, scrolling across your screen now. We also have baskets on the stage for those in-house. Your offerings are essential to our ministries, and we are sincerely grateful to all that you can share, for all that you can share. So please say the giving affirmation with me. I am abundant, and I give from my abundance. I am prosperous, and I give from my prosperity. I am blessed, and I give from my blessings. My blessings of spirit are as abundant as the stars, and so I give and receive generously. And so it is. And now for another song from our magnificent Gene Corbin.
Okay. I have a new title. Good to be here. Nice to hear those words. Thank you, Tammy. Talk about making your day. And a lot of times when the energy's like this, songs I had planned just went out the window. And another one comes floating in out of the blue from the inspiration I just got there. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. And the corn is as high as an elephant's eye. And it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And I've got this wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the cattle are standing like statues. All the cattle are standing like statues. They don't turn their heads as they see me walk by. And that little brown maverick is winking her eyes. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And I've got this wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy he don't miss a tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. And I've got this wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way.
Woo-hoo. Once again, thank you for your beautiful contribution to our service this morning, Gene. Now let's take a moment and bless our offerings. Please help me bless these offerings. O giver of life, we gratefully accept these and all your gifts on behalf of our congregation and its ministry. We honor the gift of each giver and declare that our abundance is increased 1,000-fold. Thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now I'd like to welcome visitors, any new visitors to our center. If you're here for the first time, we invite you to see, I hope it's Carol Ann Armijo in the back of the room, the welcome table back there. She has some information and God willing, a flower, fresh cut flower for you. We also have practitioners available for treatment after service. Those wearing purple stoles, they'll be seated up towards the front, towards the left side of the stage as you're facing the stage. In addition, we invite you to use the prayer box on the back table. Prayer request forms are beside the box. You'll find prayer request forms in the pocket, in the chairs in front of you. So fill those out, leave them in the box in the back. We'll pray for you through the coming week. Now, on a special note, this is First Sunday. So do we have people in the sanctuary there whose birthdays are in April? Are April babies? Somebody let me know. And if we do, then Jean, how about we sing happy birthday to them?
Okay.
Uh-oh, I caught you flat-footed, didn't I, Jean?
April baby. Okay. All right. You're all so hard to get along with. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, April babies. Happy birthday to you.
It doesn't matter. I'll find out later. So now for announcements, our very own Mark Ayers is going to share announcements, followed by our benediction and the closing song.
Thank you, Greg. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Norm is not here to do announcements today, so I'm sorry about that, but I'll do the best I can. We're going to begin with an announcement by Maria Dion, who's been co-chair of our search committee, and some good things are happening soon.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all. I'm excited to tell you that next week is our candidate weekend with Reverend Gill and Robin Olmsted. They'll be visiting here for the weekend. And I want to make sure that you're aware of some events that we're having Sunday. So Reverend Gill will be doing the talk at next Sunday's service. And immediately following service here in the sanctuary, he will answer all of your questions, or as many of your questions that we have time for. And following that, there'll be a potluck lunch in the social hall. And then at 1 p.m. promptly, we will have a workshop, which will just go for an hour and a half, from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. There'll be an opportunity to vote, and there'll be more about that in the bulletin this coming week. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. I hope to see all of you and all of your beloveds next week. Thanks.
Thank you, Maria and Marilyn and the rest of your team getting us to this point. So we're very excited. In relation to that, we have these slips that are on your chairs or nearby, and we're really trying to create a document to be able to give to Reverend Gill about what we would like him to know about our GCSL. So please take the time, fill it out. There's a basket here in the sanctuary, and I think there's one in the social hall as well. We really need these back today. So,
Do you remember the baby?
oh yes, okay. All right, okay, sorry.
We're waiting.
All right, we're having a little bit of an interruption here. Okay, yes, okay.
Interrupt on your behalf.
Okay, all right, well, great. Okay, all right, we have a lot of, Doug, can you put that bear down for a minute? Oh, are these from Miguelito? No? Oh, Miguelito's even donating to us. Okay, all right, you go put those out over there. And Doug, can you go help, we need some here. We'll put some in the front row here, okay? No, Nandi, you go do that side, and we'll have Doug do right here. Sorry about that. This doesn't happen when Norm is here. I'm really sorry. Okay. The short version of all that is, wow, Nandy, you did a great job with that. Thank you. We have 2 more weeks to collect animals, and if you don't want us to be interrupting Sunday service for people dropping them off, bring them during the week, and that way we'll put them out. This is a very colorful and very fuzzy center that we have here at the moment.
How much is that doggy in the window? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you again.
Okay, and we're getting extra value for our music ministry with Gene doing some additional singing. Okay, we've done birthdays, and there was one more announcement, and let me see what it was. We're having too much fun here, I can't remember. We did birthdays, we did that.
I'm going to interrupt you again.
Okay.
We have a very large board about this big in the back room with magic markers nearby for what we want Gil to know about us. I'm not doing this again. So, and we have 3 other boards back there. What is our definition of prosperity? What are our intentions in, as, and through CSL? And what is our community wisdom? So I put mine on construction paper at home and then brought it in. But if you want to, those boards are up for us.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, next weekend, big weekend. Bring those fuzzies to church with you. You guys look great with those, really do. And here's the good news on Reverend Gill weekend. Norm will be back here, so this will go the way it's supposed to. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mark. While Norm is awfully very entertaining, often very entertaining in his announcements, I think you have raised the bar on entertaining announcements for us this morning. So thank you so much. Please note that there will be social hall in person after the service today. And in addition, a hybrid discussion in the classroom for those of you who want to go in and discuss the Sunday message that Reverend Tammi left with us. That will be both in person there in the classroom as well as online. So now for our closing, we'll have a benediction and then the closing song. So as our time together comes to an end today, I know it is good. This sharing of the time together, of this message, this listening, talking to each other, sharing the time together online and face to face is such a blessing. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity for each of us to come together this morning so that we might know each other, so that we might know Spirit in a deeper and more profound way. So knowing that all is well, I bless each of us as we finish our time and move out into the rest of our day. I know we do so safely and carry the Spirit and loving kindness with us as we go. So please join me in finishing this service this morning by announcing with me, and so it is. Amen.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. And that's exactly